The creative destruction has begun. Our games are temporarily being relocated to Gene's office. Later I will disassemble this bookcase and rebuild it to fit the loft space. This is a counterbalanced alternating tread stairway. Here I am removing the counterweight, pulleys, and other paraphernalia. The stairway will also be broken down and rebuilt. This is a messy bit. I wanted to get the floor joist as close to the wall as possible, so I took a sander to the wall to remove the high spots. I think I'm still cleaning up dust a month later. The joist will be attached to the cabin's 8x12 tie beams. The tie beam on the outer wall is under 2 inches of earth and plaster, and light clay straw. To gain access, I made an excavation with a claw hammer. I used 4x8 Douglas fir timbers for the floor joist because the joist will be exposed and matches the aesthetic of the rest of the cabin. However, instead of cutting joist pockets, I cheated and used these joist hangers. I was under something of a time constraint, and retroactively cutting the joinery is tricky. For the subfloor, I used 1x6 ton groove pine board that will look really nice from below. I have a plan for reducing sound transmission through the floor, which I will get into later in the video. Originally, we just had a partial wall here separating our loft bedroom from the rest of the cabin. I extended the framing up to the ceiling. Here I'm using more 1x6 ton groove boards to clad the wall. Later I'll infill the stud base with mineral wool to provide some sound dampening. The stud placement in the loft extension will be dictated by the rafters, so off camera I used a large level to mark stud locations that would align with the rafters. Once that was worked out, it was easy enough to toenail the studs to the bottom plate and fasten the tops. I didn't film framing the sloped wall, but took some math to accomplish. Here's a diagram. Before finishing framing the wall, I had decided to do some more work on the floor while I still had access to move up large materials. To decrease sound transmission, I put down a couple layers of rubber mat. The mat is about 1/8 of an inch thick and very heavy. I thought it was pretty difficult to work with until I changed out my blade on my utility knife. I'm using a different finished flooring than the original loft, so I worked out that to get the two sections being the same level, I had to put down a layer of 3/8 inch plywood. Yeah, so I've made this mix of kind of something between cob and light clay straw. I probably should have patched these holes over here before putting in this subfloor, but I'm gonna do it now. Get this. A little bit wet there. So yeah, I'll be putting about 1/2 inch of plaster on top of this. I want to come a little bit shy of where the finished plaster level will be. And just make sure it's in there. And not too proud so I don't trim off too much. Alright, the framing up here in the loft is complete. See, we've got 2 big windows over here, and then another big window right over here. So before I start putting cladding on the outside of this, I need to work out what I'm going to do for my electrical. So I've got this is where the ceiling fan was, and the switch for that is downstairs. So I'm going to use this as a new light switch for downstairs. So what I'll do is, you see this, there's this conduit and a junction box here. So I'll pull the wire out of this, run it down here
pop it out right here, go through this beam, and then bring it down through here, and then go down the floor, and then I can supply power for the lights for underneath the loft floor. Supply power for the loft. I'm going to have probably a couple outlets. I'm going to put one right over here and another one on that center stud. To get power for those, I'm going to use this, a three-way light switch for the bedroom over here. This is the common one, the black one here with the blue tape. So that one always has power. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come back over here, put a little junction box here, and then run to the wall here in the loft and get power to those two outlets.
With the electrical in and exterior clad, it was time for insulation. I used mineral wool bats, primarily to provide sound dampening, but also for fire protection. Also, there will be a mini-split evaporator in the loft bedroom, so I can thermally isolate the bedroom at night if we want to turn off the downstairs unit. Off camera, I added trim work and applied linseed oil to all the wood surfaces. I found the oil or the wood or something will darken over time, so at some point hopefully it'll better match the original woodwork. For the finished flooring, I put down the last of the rubber mat as underlayment and installed a floating wood floor. My dad helped out cutting the ends down to fit to save me about 40 trips up and down the ladder. On the subject of ladders, I was really tired of using one. With the finished floor height firmly established, I started work on an alternating tread stairway. This is a short video I posted earlier about the build. If you want a deep dive video into building an alternating tread stair with diagrams and trigonometry lessons, let me know in the comments. Here's that promised handrail. I was going to use black iron pipe, but while I was perusing at my favorite home improvement store, I found this structural pipe in the same aisle. The cool thing is all the fittings are secured with hex screws, so if I needed to remove the railing to say move up something bulky, it would just take a couple of minutes. So a couple options for these lights that are now mounted low where they were high before. So either I could trench right through here, lay my wire here, and then mount them up here somewhere. Or what I'm going to do is I am going to use this external pipe and then just put the lights up here and just run my cord through this. Be a lot less mess this way. Okay, time has come to install the mini split. So I've got a 9,000 BTU unit and a 12,000 BTU. I'm going to put the 9,000 up here in the loft bedroom. See the outline here is up on the wall. Kind of limited on spaces as far as where I can put it. This I think is going to be the best option. I've got about a foot clearance between where the wardrobe comes in and roughly about a foot
to where the ceiling is. I'm going to run the refrigerant lines down along this wall and go out and exit to the wall back down there. So I can see that down there. And I'll just sort of build a chase that's to hide the refrigerant lines. Alright, here we are inside. You can see this is where the new one's going to be. We're going to take out the old one. The big important thing with the new one is I'm going to use the same exit hole. So I want to make sure I have appropriate slope so the condensate line drains correctly. I might drop it a little bit. Looks like I have some room to spare, but we'll see. But first I'm going to take that one down. Alright, after the pressure check, I went and cleaned this up. Just wrapped up the refrigerant lines with the electrical lines. I'll still put a cover over this. Here's my condensate drain. So it goes into this flexible tubing. You see over there. Alright, so we're down to some of our final elements of the loft expansion. Here are the windows. So these will be awning type windows. You see the hinges here. So these will just flip open like that. That'll be mounted above. This is acrylic. And yeah, these are just mitered corners which are glued and pinned at the ends. This is going to be a fixed window, so just going to be screwed in, and so I assembled this using pocket screws. The same, used acrylic for this one as well. Alright, so let's go mount them. Alright, so Gina's on her way home, and the house is mostly back together, mostly. Let's just take a look around here. So first off, we've got the new mini split head up there. We've got our artwork installed again. I still haven't worked out what I'm going to do with the lighting situation down here, so that's still up in the air. Okay, here's the alternating tread stairs with the handrail installed. Ease on up there. You can see the lighting modifications I made. They used to be at knee level, and now they're at just above head level. Okay, swinging around. Okay, there's our new board game shelf. All our board games have been rehomed here. Here's the awning windows. These are operable. I still need to get some hardware to secure those, but it's in the works. Here's a little crafting table. This is a fixed pane. Okay, and then I made these bifold doors for the bedroom. And I made those to where they sort of lock down with these magnets here. Keeps it pretty tight in here. And then we also have this, the big thing is we've got this new evaporator head up here, which keeps it much cooler up here in the loft. Oh, look, there's compost bins. Alright, that's it for now. Oh, let's see. Here's a demonstration of going down the alternating tread stair forwards. See, not too terrifying.